Right now, on a windswept island in the middle of the Pacific, two large white birds are facing each other. They bow, they lift their beaks to the sky. They clack, they preen, they dance a dance they have danced for years, only with each other. People who film this post it with three words: mate for life, and something in you wants that to be true. Because if a bird on a rock in the ocean can find one other living thing and stay, then maybe faithfulness is not a story we invented to feel better about ourselves. Maybe it is older than us, maybe it is wild. But here is the question that should follow you out of this video. What if the most faithful creature on earth is not human? And what if, when we finally looked closely, even it had a secret? We think faithfulness is simple. You are with one. You are with no one else. But biologists had to split that idea in two because the animals kept breaking it. There is living together, building a nest, defending it, raising the young side by side, season after season. And then there is something else entirely: who an animal actually has offspring with. For a long time, we assumed those were the same thing. We assumed the two birds at the nest were the parents of the eggs inside it. Then we learned how to read blood. And what the blood said did not match what the nest looked like at all. So why do any animals pair at all? Why bond? Why return? Why choose one? The answer begins with two small chemicals you are already carrying: oxytocin and vasopressin. In a small brown rodent called the prairie vole, researchers including Larry Young at Emory University found something strange. Prairie voles form pair bonds. They huddle, they share a burrow, they pick their partner over a stranger every time. A close cousin, the montane vole, does none of this. It mates and it moves on. The difference is not the heart, it is the brain. The bonding voles have vasopressin receptors wired straight into their reward system, so being near their partner feels good in the way that matters, the way that pulls you back. And here is the part that should unsettle you. Those are the same chemicals that flood through you when you fall in love, when you hold someone, when you cannot stop thinking about them. The pull you call devotion runs on the same wiring as a rodent in a lab. Now, watch how fast the romance falls apart. Pairing itself is everywhere in birds. Around 90% of bird species form a bond, two parents at one nest. In mammals, it is brutally rare, only about 3 to 9%. So the birds looked like the faithful ones. Then came the DNA. When scientists tested the chicks sitting in those tidy nests, they kept finding a different father. Nest after nest after nest. Reading blood rewrote everything we thought we knew about loyalty in the wild. One review of 180 socially monogamous bird species found that only about 3% showed no cheating at all. 3%. In the superb fairy-wren, a tiny bird that looks like a perfect devoted couple, up to 95% of the chicks in some populations are fathered by a male who is not the partner. Even the mascots fall. Humboldt penguins, those little symbols of loyalty, take part in matings outside the pair. Emperor penguins find a new partner the very next season around 8 times out of 10. The animals we hold up as living proof that faithfulness is real turned out, quietly, to be the unfaithful ones. Here is where a colder voice speaks up. None of this is betrayal, the skeptic says. There is no promise being broken, because there was never a promise to begin with. A female bird that mates outside the pair is not cheating on anyone. She is collecting better genes for her chicks while keeping a steady partner around to help raise them. It is not love. It is arithmetic, written by evolution. And that is fair. It explains the fairy-wren. It explains the penguin. Except it does not explain the ones who could stray and simply never do. Owl monkeys and titi monkeys in the forests of South America are among the only mammals where the DNA actually matches the nest, where the young really do belong to both parents. They gain nothing by staying exclusive. The math tells them to wander. They stay anyway. And arithmetic has never once explained what happens when the partner does not come home. Which brings us back to that island, and to one bird in particular. If any of this is staying with you, a quick like helps more people meet her. Her name is Wisdom. She is a Laysan albatross. and a scientist named Chandler Robbins clipped a band onto her leg in 1956 when she was already a grown adult. That makes her at least 74 years old, the oldest known wild bird alive on the planet. For decades, she returned to the same patch of the same island and met the same mate, a male called a kiakamai. Together they did the bowing dance, year after year after year. She has laid as many as 60 eggs in her life and raised around 30 chicks into the open sky. She survived a tsunami in 2011 that drowned thousands of chicks all around her. One of the chicks she raised grew up, flew back to that same island, and had a chick of its own, which made Wisdom a grandmother. Then one year, Akeakamai did not come back. He was never seen again. Wisdom returned to the island and she waited. For 4 years, she laid no egg. And then, scientists watched her do something that stopped them cold. She danced again, with a new mate. She laid a new egg, so ask yourself honestly, was that Wisdom breaking faith with the one she lost? Or was that the most faithful thing a living creature can do? This is the wall we always reach. We can band her leg. We can count her eggs. We can run the DNA and tell you exactly who fathered which chick across 70 years of her life. What we cannot do is climb inside her and feel whether she missed him, whether those 4 silent years were grief or just biology quietly pausing, whether the new dance was a choice or only a season turning over. We can measure who an animal stays with. We have no instrument for what staying means to them. The science can reach the nest. It cannot reach the longing if there is any longing there at all. So maybe we have been asking the wrong thing this whole time. We wanted to know if animals are faithful the way we picture it. Pure, exclusive, forever. By that test, almost every creature on Earth fails, ourselves included. But there is another kind of faithful, returning to the same square of sand across an entire lifetime, knowing one other being out of millions, waiting 4 years on an empty patch of ground, and when the waiting finally becomes unbearable, choosing to bow to life again instead of vanishing into the sea. Wisdom is out over the Pacific somewhere right now or back on that island, an old bird who has outlived more love than most humans will ever hold. And here is the question only you can answer, now that you know her. When she danced again, 4 years after her mate disappeared, was she letting him go, or was she keeping a promise the rest of us are too afraid to make? Tell me what you decided, and then ask yourself whether you would have waited as long as she did.